Hello and welcome to Talking Shit Tuesday. That bloody slacker, JD Kain, has been off for 2 weeks now. I've got to pull the load instead. Cutter. Yeah. Anyway, so last week was fun because I had a bit of a sore throat. And then the following day, my throat was breaking up. I sounded like a prepubescent boy, and then I spent the rest of the week feeling as sick as a dog, you know. But fortunately, it all seems to be coming back now, still a little bit, but we'll see. So, hope everyone's having a good day. So, Ronnie.
Enough said, really.
The end. Oh no, me and Sam. Well, we fucked him the other day. That happened. So yeah,
that was a good hangout. We could. I don't want to call it butt hurt, but you could feel his ass devastation.
Yeah.
I mean, I think. I made a video earlier today about how really outside of the context of TST, and if someone else brings it up in a hangout, then I'm in. I'll talk about him. But beyond that, I think we slowly need to start sort of phasing him out of things, out of the list of things that we talk about. Sorry.
Yeah, I do like Steve's direction of the direction that Steve's channel going in. I still need to watch the one with Fuzz. I'm going to do it tomorrow while I'm doing my tutoring session, because I think having that guy on there completely fucking devastated Ronnie, especially since he is a biochemist and a strong theist. Like he is no shit, on the side of it.
But of course, we straw-manned his position. That was the funniest thing. It's like, I was like, hey, Ron, you go ahead and write what you want down. I'm going to have Fuzz on again this Friday with Dr. Ross. Write down what you want. We'll ask the question specifically the way you have it worded. But I mean,
you should invite him to that hangout.
I've been talking to their secretary, and they don't want any kind of ad hom or adversarial thing, and I'm sure if I invited him, it would be. And I don't blame them. I mean, they want reasons to believe to be in a good light, and I got to respect that.
You hear that, Ronnie? Nobody likes you.
Do you think it's actually possible to ignore Ronnie? Because he's a bit like a car crash, really. You just can't help but look. And people are going to say, "Oh, did you see what Ronnie said the other day?"
It's like trying to ignore G-Man. It doesn't happen.
Mm.
Well, I think that, though, now any serious engagement, I mean, really, it's point and laugh time now. It just is so utterly clueless.
Are you sure, Fiona? Because apparently, as far as I'm aware, you said that he was right and you were wrong.
No, what I actually explained to him was why
his actual position.
Actually, what I explained to him was why he was wrong, and he took that as an admission of him being right. When you reach that level of incompetence at reading the written word and understanding, this is why you're wrong, thinking is an admission that you're right. Seriously. Am I in some sort of like mirror image universe here, where black is white and down is up?
It wasn't that he misunderstood. It was that he quote mined you, like straight up.
Yeah, that was it. I told him why he was wrong, and he takes that an admission of being right. It beggars belief that anybody can be as incompetent as that. It has to be. You know how there is fail and then there's epic fail. This has gone a new level altogether, and I think we have to have a new term for that level of fail. And I think we're just going to have to call like we talk about weapons grade stupidity. So we're going to have like a Ronnie grade fail, because I've never seen anybody fail as hard. Epic fail doesn't cut it. It was hilarious though.
Yeah.
Well, I'm one for laughing at Ronnie. When I'm feeling particularly stressed, I'll go watch that old Alex Button hangout where he was trying his whole philosophy shtick. And I fast forward to about 38 minutes in and just enjoy myself for about 5 to 10 minutes. So, but that's just me. You know, people decompress in different ways.
Well, what's really weird is when he's sitting there telling people that, oh, well, you know, it's been a year and it finally come to fruition and it came to an head, and Fiona finally admits that I'm right, and Fiona's in the live feed going, no, I didn't, not even remotely close. I've explained to you why you're wrong. And he's just telling people, yeah, you know, she says I'm right. And, you know, I'm like, really? I didn't get this from her.
I got
Well, here's a conclusion.
Timeout.
Here's the conclusion I think we have to draw. That he isn't actually so dumb that he's unable to understand what I said to him. Everybody could tell that with his question he was on a fishing trip. And everybody was being very careful how they answered his question, making sure they couldn't be taken out of context or quote mined. But he was demanding a yes or no answer to a question that was equivalent to, have you stopped beating your dog yet? And a loaded question. And then he complained that the answers that were given, which were detailed, were too long. Too long. He asks a question and then complains when he gets a full answer. And he demonstrated that even when he seems to be asking a question, there is a devious motive in there. He set that up in an attempt to get a quote mine. And he didn't really get a suitable one, so he ended up having to blatantly lie. So he's actually planned ahead to tell this lie. This isn't just a sort of a lie on the spur of the moment to suddenly save face when he's caught out. So, on that basis, I think we have to accept that nothing that he says or asks us is ever done with any honest intent and should be treated as such. So just ignore it. Don't answer his questions. Because we've seen what he does with them.
Well, I have to ask, what is
his...
I have to ask, what is his actual position? Because I'm not, at this point, I actually can't tell. Because he refuses. The thing that annoys me is that, like, he's getting into a pissing match, and I have no idea what he's trying to argue for at this point.
Yeah, he still holds the position that that DNA does break apart in water, that it does lose its sequence. The only thing that's changed now is that he says Fiona has acknowledged that is the case. That is Fiona's statement that DNA does break down through a hydrolysis reaction. Well, that's her, and which he interprets to mean she admitted that I'm right about everything I've been saying over the last year, which I think would grossly overstate it. Let me respond.
Because what I was pointing out was that the act of dissolving doesn't involve any hydrolysis reactions at all. That's where he's going wrong.
Okay, well that's where, then that's where, when Sam says, well, what is his actual position? Maybe when I have a few minutes, I'm actually going to make a little table that is like where he's been consistent, where he hasn't. He says DNA does fall apart in water. That's not something he's ever going to back down from. But as to in terms of what it breaks down to, he says, at one point he said it was the monomers. It breaks down into monomers, and then now he's saying, well, no, actually that statement was incorrect. Now notice that he's not saying, well, other people were correct. He's not saying, well, I'm going to admit that when those people told me that it doesn't break apart into monomers, I have to acknowledge that they were right, I was wrong. He's not saying that. He's just saying that statement from this comment that nobody read from a year ago was incorrect. But he still thinks it falls apart. But it doesn't break down into monomers, and it doesn't break down into nucleotides, but it does break down into its constituent parts. Now, I don't know what he thinks the constituent parts of a DNA molecule would be. Does he think that it's the subatomic particles, and it just goes nuclear? Like I don't know what he thinks. But so the other thing is how it breaks apart is it hydrolysis? Some days it's hydrolysis, some days it's not hydrolysis. He's been consistent that dissolving and hydrolysis are not the same thing, and he's correct about that, thank goodness. But
But then when we describe,
I'm a little bit confused because I could have sworn in all this thread stuff that I've skimmed through and not knowing the science, I'm pretty sure he said, I've not been talking about that. I've been talking about hydrolysis the whole time.
But he says he's never been talking about hydrolysis as well. So we don't even know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
What he's missed is when he describes what he thinks is happening to DNA, what he doesn't seem to grasp is that he's describing a hydrolysis reaction and then saying, but I'm not talking about hydrolysis.
Yeah, and that's where it gets really hard to follow. He is talking about the phosphodiester bonds breaking, he calls it, but he's not talking about it breaking down into monomers. But he's not talking about it breaking down into nucleotides. But it is the phosphodiester bonds that are breaking.
Yeah, which breaks the backbone.
It's breaking by its interaction with water, but it's not hydrolysis. It's that sort of weird flip-flopping. He doesn't understand the terms, and he doesn't understand. Oh, the other thing is degrade and dissolve the same. I want to make a point about the fail thing, but I'm just sort of trying to. It's really hard to follow sometimes because he's so inconsistent with these things. Like, are degrade and dissolve different things? There are occasions he said, yeah, they don't mean exactly the same thing. There are a lot of other occasions that he says it does mean the same thing. And then he'll go to like dictionary.com and show us that in one sense of the word dissolve, it means degrade. And he's just all over the map. But you know what? Let me say something about the fails. I do have to get the kids fed real quick, and then we got to get out and sell some cookies.
Then I've got something to say to you whole time.
Yeah. Okay. But here's where I think what he's done is not a fail. I mean, it is definitely a science fail. It's just a Ronnie caliber ongoing science fail. It's a thinking fail because he simply can't stop and think, okay, what is the truth of the matter here? He can't commit himself to speaking the truth and saying, well, I don't want to say things that aren't true, either through dishonesty or through having been misinformed. So I'm going to commit myself to speaking the truth. I'm not going to tell lies. He's certainly committed to telling lies. And he like this whole thing about Fiona admitted it. I would challenge him. Show somebody in your own circles the comment where Fiona admitted that you were right about this stuff, right? Sorry, I have to derail myself for a second here, just so that people know what the confusion is over. Is that Fiona? The truth of the matter is very simple. In that DNA, when it does break, through its association with water at the phosphodiester bond, that would be an example of hydrolysis. That is a cleaving of the phosphodiester bond, sending free either breaking the strand into two, or even sending free individual nucleotides. That might happen, but it happens at the phosphodiester bond with interaction with water. That would be an example of a hydrolytic cleaving. And that is true. Now, does that actually happen? And the answer is yes, once every 33 million years or so. And then I exaggerate. That's actually not. It happens more frequently than that. But it's not just once every 33 million years. The point is that however DNA came to be, it is incredibly stable. It is amazingly stable. I think only somebody who doesn't believe in an intelligent designer would make the argument that our entire genetic code is based on something that falls apart when it gets wet. I mean, that's just so completely ridiculous. So anybody, like, regardless of what you think about how DNA ever came to be, whether it was intelligently designed or poofed into existence or molded from clay or slowly evolved over time, the point is we have DNA available to us. You can put it into water. It doesn't fall apart like an old wool sweater. You can put it in water, you can take it out, and you can sequence it. Yes, it is true that when it does break, it's a hydrolytic reaction. But I'm sorry for being so long on the mic, but I strained to make, just so that people know what the little trick that he did here was he asked Fiona, well, so when DNA breaks, like, is that a hydrolytic reaction? And she says, well, yes, that would be a hydrolytic. So he's saying, aha, she's now admitting that I've been right, that is right about this whole falls apart in water like an old sweater bullshit he's been saying. And I'm sorry, Fiona, I know you got stuff loaded up there, but I just got to make this point about the fail. Here's why it is definitely a science fail. Hopefully that explanation helps people. But here's why it's not a strategic fail. Because if you listen to subsequent Hangouts, and sorry, I'm going to interrupt myself again. I had one of his ball washers send me a message. I don't know who it was, just one of his viewers, send me a message on Plus this morning to say, hey, you really should listen to Bring It Evolutionist 14. Now, I've listened to, I think, 6 and 8 and 9. I haven't listened to the others. I find them just, insufferable ball washing sessions, and then when somebody foolishly does go in, they just get muted and booted. Or they let somebody who come in who doesn't really know much about the material, and then they'll talk to them. So I find it a complete waste of time. So I start listening to it, and what I got from part 14 was, he says, no drama. We're going to talk about, I forgot what the topic was now, abiogenesis or whatever, but no drama. There will be no drama. The first person who brings up drama will be thrown out. 12 seconds later, G-Man brings up drama. Oh, well, sure, you, G-Man, you can bring it up. And then, oh, you want to talk about drama, G-Man? Oh, here, I'll screen share some stuff. So I'm listening to this thing, and I get to about the 21-minute mark, and I went, I just shut it off, because, what was the point of it? They said no drama, and then they sat there and they did nothing but drama. And again, I apologize, especially on TST, for being so long on the mic. But here my point arrives. Here it comes. Brace yourself, people. Is that what was the drama they were talking about? It was him restating these things like, well, Fiona admitted it. Gee, I would like to see that. I would love to savor that comment. Please show us the comment where Fiona says, you are right, true empiricism. Please screen share that. I'd love to savor that. No, G-Man says, yep, finally. So what you had was a room full of people last night that Ronnie just has to say, yeah, Fiona admitted that I was right about everything I've been saying in the last year. Really, she did good. Yep. Yeah. Now everybody acknowledges that that DNA falls apart in water. As soon as it gets wet, it just falls apart. Oh, really? Well, that's good that everybody acknowledges that, because after all, that is what DNA does. Oh, and then Fiona lied about a bunch of stuff. Yeah, well, Fiona will lie. All he has to do, this is why I say it's successful for him, is because he knows his audience a little better this year than last year. Here's my point. All he has to do is say, Fiona lied? Oh, really, Fiona lied. Fiona admitted? Yeah, oh, really, Fiona admitted. And that's all he has to do. And if you listen to the Hangouts they've had since then, it is not a fail for him, because he's been successful, because he knows his dim-witted target audience is going to sit there and lap it up. They're not going to ever ask him to screen share the comment that any of this stuff happened.
Yeah.
And I apologize for the length of that.
Right, here's an interesting thing, Hogtie. In your hangout with him, way back, December the 18th it was, he stated to you categorically that when DNA is dissolving in water, when that proton pops off, that destabilizes the phosphor-diester bond, and that's why the phosphor-diester bond falls apart. And this is a crucial bit, he says, it is no longer DNA.
Yeah, and now he says...
Now he's saying it falls apart, but it's still DNA.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, that's a good catch. But the thing is, there's so many of those catches too. If people listen to that Hangout or any of the others that happened around that time, I did just yesterday re-listen to the True Empiricism and Hogtie Champ Solvate the World's Problems, and there is no doubt. I mean, if that video were on his channel, he would delete it, or he'd put it on private. We would never see it again, because he says so clearly so many times, if you put DNA in water, then the DNA falls apart. Unless you also put in some salts and some ethanol to stabilize the charges. Stabilize the DNA, or he also used the term neutralize the charges. So think on this. This is how you keep DNA in solution and still in sequence. You add these salts in, which serve to neutralize the charges, and that's what keeps it in solution.
But if you neutralize the charges on it, it's no longer soluble.
And I have sympathy for the audience for this year-long discussion about how it's sometimes you're listening to this and you feel like, oh, I don't know the chemistry, I don't know the chemistry. This is not even really, really hard chemistry. The whole point of the salts is to bring it out of solution. And you listen to so there was a chat that I think it's called Fiona and I Chat. So True Empiricism hosted a chat for with just he and Fiona on his channel. And then Fiona mirrored it on her channel. He since deleted it on his. You listen to that one, the pure copyist. He goes to the same. It is unbelievable how he doesn't understand the basic things. At one point, and again at another point, and again at another point, and again at a fourth point, Fiona has to explain to Ronnie that precipitation is the opposite of dissolving. that you'll
Yeah.
have DNA in solution with a bunch of other gubbins, I believe is the word she uses for it, and you'll add these salts as a way to bring the DNA out of solution, to precipitate it out of solution, and use ethanol to wash away the gubbins. This is not really super hard chemistry. I think the detailed chemistry gets complicated, but I think the audience can understand that when you've got DNA in water, the DNA goes into solution but retains its structure. You put these salts in, it leaves solution. It actually rests in, is like a jelly icky pellet thing. It's no longer dissolved in the solution, and you can wash it with ethanol. And then you keep washing with ethanol to get rid of all the salts. You've now got this pellet because the DNA doesn't dissolve in the ethanol. So you got this gummy little pellet thing. You put that into water, it goes back into solution. At no point in this process does it fall apart like an old wool sweater. So if anybody has any doubts about what true empiricism actually thought last year, listen to those 2 hangouts. He was super clear that the thing
The funny
just
bit,
breaks apart
is
and loses its
that
sequence. That's the main thing.
He actually goes to, I think there's a Google search bringing up this thing about ethanol and all the rest of it. And I just explained to him about what the salt was doing. It's precipitating it out. And he said, no, it stabilizes it. And he reads out this bit that states that it precipitates it out, which is what I've been telling him. And then he says, see, that supports me. What?
Yep. And when you point out, you said, because he read the one line, and then when you said, to precipitate, he said, well, read the next part where it says to precipitate it. He goes, well, yeah. And like he acknowledges, well, yeah. And he does that. You got to watch. He does that a lot in these conversations.
Oh, yeah.
Like when he goes, well, yeah. Well, obviously, well, duh. It's because he doesn't understand what's going on. There's a great moment in one of his conversations with Ruhif where Ruhif is they're looking at this table where it talks about the length of these telomeric repeat sequences. And Ronnie says something like, at one point he says, well, there's over, I don't remember the exact number, so whatever. He says, well, there's one part here with over 50 repeats, 50 telomere sequence repeats. Yeah. And Ruhif just gently, because it wasn't really an important point, but just said, no, that's not 50 repeats. That's 50 base pairs in length. And Ronnie goes, well, it says right here, repeats, telomere repeats, yeah, base pairs. Well, of course it's base pairs. Well, what Ronnie didn't get was
he didn't understand.
He didn't understand what it meant was it wasn't saying that it was repeated 50 times. And Ronnie goes, well, of course it's base pairs. It's DNA. All of DNA is base pairs. So you're stupid, Ruhif, for pointing out that it's base pairs, because obviously it's base pairs. He didn't understand that Ruhif was pointing out that what that referred to was that the length of the repeated sequence was only 50 base pairs long, not 50 repeats of the 6 base pair segment. Sam, to answer your question, no, it is not the HTC ranting hour. It's just a couple of things I noticed. I wanted to react to the word fail, and then I got to throw supper on because so it was the HTC ranting 10 minutes, but I got to go. But yeah, I really want to leave on the record this issue.
Does anybody?
Everybody go watch it.
I want to leave at this point because I know I'm repeating it, but I want to leave at this point. Just keep an eye on the effect, because when people wonder, well, why do we even speak out against these people? What's the point of bringing it up? Because to me, the really interesting phenomenon, like there's the chemistry, and that's interesting in its own way, but to me, the really interesting phenomenon is what evangelicalism does to a person's brain. Because we could sit, I mean, true empiricism will never show up for a hangout now. You go ahead and say, like what we did with them last year, say, come on, let's just sit, we'll talk calmly, we'll discuss this. I want to get your thoughts out about what's going on here. I'll tell you what I think the actual science is. Let's talk about it calmly. He will never, ever, 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 never do that again, because he knows the next time he comes into a room with one of us, we're going to say, Ronnie, is DNA the same as dissolve? Ronnie, does DNA lose its sequence when it's in water? Ronnie, is that an example of a hydrolysis reaction? We're going to ask him specific questions and want specific answers, and he knows he will belly flop if that happens. So if we went ahead and instead said, hey, Antonio, let's talk about DNA. Hey, Arcane, let's talk about DNA. Hey, G-Man, let's talk about DNA. Any of those guys. Tommy, any of those guys. If we said, let's talk about, do you think Ronnie was right and Fiona and Sam and me and everybody else were wrong? They're going to say, well, yeah, of course Ronnie was right. Or they're not even going to go that far. But whatever, if you ask them any of those questions, they're just going to say, but I don't really know the science all that well, so I don't really want to. So, well, it's really simple. I can explain it to you. I don't really know the science that well. But then they'll be in the next hangout saying, well, that's great that Fiona admitted she was wrong and you were right, true empiricism, because you were right, true empiricism. That's all this whole thing is about, is having his group around him say, you were right, true empiricism.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I wanted to leave because that's the effect.
Ultimately, it can't, like, I have to believe that it's not that fulfilling for him to, you know, to only have these people approve. Like, it must annoy him when people just point out, oh, you're, you know, everyone else who's educated thinks that you're a fucking moron. But perhaps, like, he is as myopic as Hogtie suggests, and that's
absolutely right. And that's exactly it, Sam, is that you see, this is what we're seeing. We're now seeing the coping strategy. We're now seeing him sitting there going, well, yeah, it's great that G-Man thinks I'm brilliant, but I really want a lot of people to think I'm brilliant. But he's not going to get a lot of people to think he's brilliant because he cannot learn. He repeats his mistakes and doubles down. So what we're seeing now is the coping strategy. It's him saying, well, the people I really need to have adore me are G-Man and Antonio and, you know, and that crowd. And I don't care what Wayne Fillmore thinks, and I don't care what Steve McRae thinks. What we're seeing right now is his psychological coping mechanism for dealing with the fact that he's wrong about the science. He knows he's wrong about it, but he can't come to the right place. But he's learning to bask in the light that is around him and not seek other light.
What I noticed today in a video he made, a short one that's taken down now for reasons, but he pointed out that Steve probably hates him. He thinks that because he's wrong, we hate him.
Yeah, let me go on record that I don't hate anybody. I have no ill will toward Ronnie whatsoever on a personal level.
Hey, you.
Never.
Yeah,
I mean, not even close.
There are probably a couple of people I hate.
Says.
None of these guys. And thanks for letting me steamroller everybody. Yeah. There is complete projection. They hate individuals on our side. I don't hate any of them. I wish them well. But yeah, it's bullshit. Anyway, thanks for all the mic time. If I don't actually leave now, I will go on another rant.
Sorry, we ran out of time. Thank you for coming.
Good seeing y'all.
You're always welcome back, Hogtie. Thank you.
Are you guys familiar with Morton's Demon? Have you heard of that before? Glenn Morton was a geologist, and he proposed a little demon very similar to Maxwell's demon. If you want to go look it up, after thermodynamics and how a little demon can send hot particles to one side and cold particles to another side. Basically, there's a thought experiment. But he said Morton proposed that a similar demon stands at the gate of the mind of a creationist and other anti-evolutionists that only allow an evidence confirming their worldview and shuts out any contrary evidence. Such thing would be an extreme case of confirmation bias and would go beyond such a mere bias to confirming one's thoughts and would stray into willful ignorance. It is this demon that allows them to maintain their worldview in face of overwhelming evidence to the contrary. And I'm like, that is just perfectly spot on. I had a hangout this the other day about perception filters.
The Mooncast filter. I think you called it a Mooncast filter.
Yeah, Mooncalf. Yeah, Mooncalf.
I think it's funny that Ronnie is still doing this. I don't know if you guys remember. I had that little transparent vial that I kept near my laptop, and I would show it, and I said, "This is my DNA." Like, how does Ronnie think that you can see the strands of my DNA in that aqueous solution? Like, you have to actually take just regular tap water in this case, and swish it around your mouth after you scrape your cheek cell. Or the side of your cheek to get the cells, and then there's a salt solution, or excuse me, there's a salt packet that you mix with the solution in your mouth, and then you spit it out into this vial, and then you can actually watch it separate. Like you can visually see it, and then when you actually shake it up and allow it to settle, you will see the strands of DNA. So I wish I could find it right now, but that is a perfect representation of him being demonstrably fucking wrong in this case, among many other cases.
Well, it's kind of funny, like you have on your screen, you know, the dehydration synthesis, condensation reaction, which I was trying to explain to him when I went to that hangout. And he, for some reason, thought we were talking about hydrolysis. And I'm like, well, I'm just giving an example, the same thing, but in reverse. But in his mind, he couldn't understand that this was the same thing, but in reverse. And he thought I was confused on this. I'm like, no.
No, and this, by the way, Ronnie, the stuff that you're getting wrong is basic chemistry, basic fucking chemistry. So, I mean, while I have a basic understanding of evolution, you have less than a basic understanding of literally this PowerPoint is called the chemistry of life. So I don't know what else I could show other than I'm at a loss. I'm at a complete loss as to what his point is even now. I'm sharing this just to demonstrate what we're talking about so people can see. I couldn't find one with DNA since this is something more readily available to me with the amino acids, but it's what I'm using for right now because my DNA one only shows the splitting of the hydrogen bond.
For like
That's no, that's amino acids.
Yeah, the one that I have
Yeah,
for
he was just showing
DNA.
the type of reaction. That's all. He was just using that to show a condensation reaction, how water is formed.
Yeah,
because,
but DNA. We were talking about hydrolysis.
yeah, but this is the opposite. That's all.
Well, no,
Yeah.
he said the other one shows the splitting of the hydrogen bonds, and that's like what happens with PCR, right?
Well, here's what's not occurred to Ronnie when he says that the proton pops off, and that destabilizes the phosphodiester bond. With that proton popping off, it leaves an O- on the backbone, and it's because that O- is what then causes the interaction with a water molecule. Remember, it's a polar solvent. So the H of the water molecule has a positive charge and it interacts with that O- on the backbone. And that is why you say it's in solution. So you still got that interaction going there. So why is that bond then destabilized? It isn't. That's the whole point of it. It's not destabilized, but because the hydrogen's popped off, it can now interact with water molecules. That's what dissolve means. But one thing I wanted to bring up was he removed his video Inconsistent Fiona because I've tried to find out why, and he will not answer the question, and it seems, I mean, I can only guess now because he refuses to answer. I did give him a chance to give us a good reason. Is because that video actually demonstrates that what he is claiming that he's been saying all the time is not what he's been saying all the time. It shows in that video what he was claiming way back then, and it is not the same as what he's claiming now. It demonstrates that he has changed what he's claiming. And that's why he's removed that video from his channel. It's been up since April.
Funnily enough, I've noticed that Ronnie removes all sorts of things from his channel. One of the things he removes from his channel frequently is comments. Because here's one that I posted about 24 hours ago, and if you look at the bottom corner here, you can see it was at 12:33 in the morning UK time, and so that was 1 second ago, and I just asked the question because if you look here, you can see it says comments 12, and there's no other comments underneath, and I just said, can you explain why there are 12 comments but I only see one of yours? Now, right now, in a unconnected one, let's get on the right page. That's not the one. Let's try again. So this one. Yep, there you go. This is the only one that's there. The others have all been removed, including mine. And mine was just an innocent comment. We've also got 15 now. So 3 more comments have been removed, including mine.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Why? And I think I know the answer. I mean, he said it a number of times. I watched him in, his Hangouts. I think when you were there last, Fiona, I think it was. I'm not going to let my subscribers listen to what you have to say, or some words to that effect. So really, he just wants an echo chamber. Well done, Ronnie. Well done.
Well, it's the thing that I find truly baffling, and it's that, it's how exactly can you complain about, what's his complaint as to why he won't go into, let's say, Steve's Hangouts? Oh, they're going to talk over me. I'm not going to be able to make my point. But at every turn, that's exactly what he does, in the form of deleting comments, in the form of muting and booting people, in the form of, I can't comment on his videos. They don't show up because I'm blocked by him for who knows why.
Now, I mean, let me just interrupt this thought for a moment because it fits together. So, Fiona, are you blocked and not allowed to enter Ronnie's Hangouts?
No, I'm not blocked from his Hangouts, but I'm not allowed to comment under his videos.
Yeah, Sam,
are
you blocked?
I'm not to my knowledge, I'm not blocked by any of his G+ accounts, but I'm not allowed to comment on any of his videos or live streams.
And Steve, what about you? Blocked or allowed to speak? Steve's not there, obviously.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I am blocked from the live feed and from the comment section. Yeah, both of them.
Yeah, and I know that
Hogtie has live feed last night.
I know Hogtie has undergone similar problems here and there. And yeah, yesterday his hangout is Bring It Evolutionists.
Yes. You see, here's the thing, Cliff. Nobody is going to go into his rooms because we have seen how he behaves even off air. That hangout with Ruhif was a disgrace. So we've seen how he behaves. We've seen how he treats people. He is so disrespectful when he's talking to them that why bother? He shouts over them, he interrupts them, he tells them they're lying and all the rest of it. And why bother? It's what it is his hangouts are for him to strut about with his chest puffed out playing pigeon chess. That's all it is. Last night I got my comments started. I could see my comments in the live chat, but nobody else could. So I've been put on hidden. Wayne Fillmore was actually in the hangout while the person with the spanner, John E. Lee, whatever his name is, was deleting Wayne's comments from the live chat, even while Wayne was in the hangout. It's that bad.
Hogtie's just said in the side chat that he's blocked from the live chat, but not blocked from Hangouts, but not allowed to join.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure I get kicked out on site. I'm almost positive.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if I'm blocked on his channel. Maybe. I've only commented once.
Yeah, but if you ever disagree with him, be prepared to get blocked from leaving comments under his videos. And the irony is that I was looking at some of the comments left in the discussion bit on his channel, and there's somebody saying, "Good for you, you don't censor comments." And it was from quite some time ago. And I thought, oh, if you could look at the channel now. Because it's so obvious, it tells you how many comments have been made. So you know if comments have been deleted. There's no hiding it. It's hilarious.
Yeah, I find it so hard to get into the headspace that Ronnie lives in. Where do you have to be in your life to think that the course of action that you're taking right now is going to lead to anything worthwhile?
I think the answer is he knows he's wrong. I really think that's what it comes down to. He knows that there are people that are smarter than him, and that I mean, if I wanted to lie about something, say that, I don't know, I was brilliant at martial arts, let's say that, okay? And I could yap and yap and yap about it because I've read a book on it. Okay? But as soon as I go like that and I hold my hand wrong or something like that, someone like Sam would say, what the hell are you doing? That's, you know, and you can see right through them. And I think that that's the reason why he does what he does. You know, he knows that there are people that are smarter and more educated on him on this subject, and that he can rule the roost with a bunch of crazy people who has a similar, you know, God position that he does. And everyone thinks he's super smart. But the people who do know and that can see right through him, he has to suppress them.
Well, the other thing is that
suppressing the truth in his unrighteousness.
Well, we can actually point to why he's wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, when's the last time that he there's a reason why I had to ask what his current stance is on this stuff, because he doesn't ever tell us what his stance is. Has anyone ever heard him give a lucid explanation for why something happens in biology?
I've never heard him give a lucid explanation of anything.
Touche.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that would be the subset. Covalent. Sorry.
Yes, I'm gonna keep this fucking image forever. It's hilarious.
I know that we laughed earlier.
Covalent. Oh, Jesus.
I will say, like, I do. It's one of those things where I just kind of, I'm fascinated by like the disconnect between his ability and his confidence.
Mhm.
It is honestly bewitching to me. Because, and the moment it became just compelling as hell was when he created that website. Because he was honestly proud of that. He was proud of what might be the worst website I've ever seen.
No. Well, okay, maybe the worst you've ever seen, not the worst I've ever seen. But it's probably, I would rank it with GeoCities.
Yeah, it looked like a GeoCities website.
And that's, I mean...
But it's not even... It's not the shitty design. It's also like the horrific spelling errors, like the incoherent babble. I mean, I know English is not his first language, but what the fuck? All right.
What is his first language?
Spanish, to my knowledge.
Gibberish.
I'm almost willing to call bullshit on that one.
And the problem is I can't think in gibberish.
I don't speak fluent moron.
But the thing with me is
That comment there. See that comment? Has anybody noticed the spelling of covalent?
Yep. Covalent.
Covalent.
Yeah.
How is it supposed to spelled?
Covalent. Covalent.
Right, because it's a covalent
here's
bond, not a
here's the
covalent.
question. Does he do this all the time? Or is this, you know, I don't know, just a typo? I mean, every now and again I'll flick the...
Who knows?
Oh, always he makes
knows?
these kinds of idiotic spelling errors.
But he's
Let
going to
us
claim
just
that
rewind a couple of
he
seconds.
didn't misspell it. He's going to say he didn't misspell it, and the whole of the rest of the world has now got to spell it that way.
The real question is, where is this comment located?
Yes, he will not tell me. He will not give me a link to it. He says he will only give the link to the comment to someone he trusts, and he doesn't trust me, and he doesn't trust CRISPR, and he doesn't trust Hannah, and he doesn't trust Hogtie Champ. He will only give it to someone he trusts.
Wait,
Why?
I wonder if it's a comment
You know what?
He's already shared it publicly. Why does he need someone he trusts? What?
I think it's quite easy. Because all that will happen is you'll find the context of what it was actually about, and it's not actually what you were talking about.
Well, given that the comment was made 2 months before the discussion about DNA in water actually began.
I actually want to
discussion
bring up
about
a
DNA
different... Oh, sorry.
Can I just point this out? The discussion about DNA in water began on the 15th of December, 2015, late afternoon GMT, because I was watching the Hangout. that drag and true empiricism were in. And that's when it all began. And that was 10 months ago. But you look at what it says about that comment, posted a year ago.
And that
So
could
that
be
couldn't
a
have
year and a
been
half ago for all we know, because of course it doesn't say anything
Yeah.
other than 1 year,
That's
2
right.
years after the amount of months has expired.
Yep, below a year it gives it in months. And the
Well-
conversation's only been going on since the 15th of December.
I really wish
So that
YouTube
begs the
would,
question.
I really wish YouTube would tweak it so that it would actually give the date and time.
It would help. But
Yeah.
but that's the question you have to ask. I mean, how is this comment going to be any part of the conversation that didn't begin until 2 months later? And given that that comment, the highlighted bit that Drag has got, is making the error that set the whole thing off in the first place, that it breaks down into its monomers when it dissolves. That's what we've been telling him he's wrong about. And in his recent video, he actually states that that comment is wrong. So he's actually admitting that we've been right all along, but he doesn't realise that he's admitted it because he's got absolutely no idea of what we've been telling him. Because the whole lot's gone right over the top of his head. But sorry, Sam.
Yeah, I mean, I think what's more interesting is why, what is wrong with these people that they automatically side with him? I think that that's actually more interesting because at this point, I do have to say that I'm kind of bored to tears with talking about Ronnie at this point. I think we've dissected this to the living hell.
There's no way to know why they.
And I don't mean that. I don't mean to say that you people are boring. I just mean to say that we have, because we're not boring as a group. I'm just saying that we have killed this topic dead so many times.
I get a question though. They're all okay. All the ones that seem to agree with Ronnie seem to be the same evangelistic Christian nature. Can we think of anybody that has agreed with him that is not of that that fundamentalist type mentality? Because if not, it shows an unrepresentative sample, right? I mean, you were a master of statistics. I mean, is that normal to have something that you have just a group that happens to have one thing in common? They believe in some form of Christianity. That is the only thing that holds them together. The linchpin is the belief in Christ or whatever, but it has nothing to do with science. And they're just saying Ronnie's right on his science because of that. And I'd like to find somebody who's not religious, maybe an atheist out in this community, that says, yeah, you know what, Ronnie's been right about all this science stuff. That's the person I want to talk to.
I made a video about that. I said, look, Ronnie, make a video detailing your position, and I will literally show it to people that come in my tutoring session. And these people, most of them are Christian. If they agree with you, I'll get them to sign something and say, yes, I agree with the person in the video, and show it online. I have no problem doing that. He won't do it. He knows good and damn well that these people that he surrounds himself with are fucking idiots, and they don't understand what the hell he's saying. And fucking Beckle doesn't know. King Matthew doesn't know. Antonio sure as hell doesn't know. He's still fucking stiff and glued. So it's only the people that are in the immediate vicinity that are going to agree with the kind of idiocy that I see on my fucking screen right now. Nobody with half a fucking education agrees with this dumbass.
Well, I have to say, and I've never been that religious. Is it religion? Is religion strong enough is a strong enough influencer of thought? Is it a strong enough influence that it's going to cause people to just agree for that? Because my instinct is that these are not, all of these people are just wrong in the head and they congregated. Because I just have trouble putting myself in that scenario where I could imagine someone, I don't know people who will just go along with that level of wrongness just because.
I don't think the topic I don't think the topic is significant. I think it's the fact that they are among this group of people who really don't have a lot outside of that little realm. And so I think it's important that they do stick together. It's like it's like when we talk about when Beckel interacts with G-Man, and G-Man slowly starts going over the edge. You'll see Beckel try at least to pull him back and go, okay, well maybe we need to sit down and think about it. But in the end, he's going to side with G-Man. He doesn't have a choice. Because the second he goes against G-Man, he knows what's going to happen. He's not that stupid. And so I think with the same thing with Antonio, Antonio knows that he's not going to impress anybody with an IQ over fucking 50. So he only can defer to true empiricism and light because he doesn't have much of a choice.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that also Antonio would suggest that we all go get Chick-fil-A because, like, I read those blogs where he just suggests that everyone get Chick-fil-A. Also, if you want to read something just hysterical, please read Antonio Fletcher's blog. It's gold.
He's a life counselor. He can help you.
Yeah, you know, he and his motivational videos about how if you're celibate, you shouldn't be ashamed. They're wonderful. It was wonderful. I'm not. By the way, you shouldn't be ashamed if you choose to be celibate. It's just
No, if you choose,
hysterical.
well, if you choose to be celibate, fine. But if the women choose for you, that's a good thing.
Well, I will just say it's the distinction between prudent discourse and Max hangs out.
Ouch.
Sorry, is that too far below the belt?
Even for TST, that was.
But I mean, like it's and Hogtie said in the outside chat that he thinks it's a large portion of it's radical religiosity, and maybe it's just because I can't put myself in that type of, you know, I'm sort of anti-authoritarian enough in sort of my view on life that I just can't put myself there, I suppose. Ocean wants the link, by the way.
I would give it to him.
Yeah.
Tell him we are full up on our limits of homosexuals in this hangout.
Is he gay or is he bi?
So who are we talking about?
Ocean. I know that I think the doctor's gay.
Well, he has a boyfriend, so they're kind of. I'm guessing so.
It's an educated guess.
I'm not gay, but my boyfriend is.
Oh shit! Cy-10 Atheist is watching.
Yes, Cy-10. Hey, Cy.
Oh, hey, honey. How y'all doing?
Cy-10.
Oh, you sexy bitches in the hangout. Oh, y'all love my video. Oh, y'all are so good. Thank y'all for watching my channel.
Well, I taste tea. Oh, hang on. Sorry, different one.
I love your stuff, Cy-10. I would marry you, but you're not my type. But other than that, your stuff's great.
Oh, you sexy bitch anyway, Steve. I love you. Mwah.
I'm not going to fall for that. I'm not going to fall for it like Tommy Hall. I might get jealous.
That was still creepy. Like I
still think he doesn't care. That's the funniest part.
How was Tommy responding?
Tommy was definitely trying to get my pants.
Yeah. He was
did he know that you were a guy, or did he?
No, he didn't realize that I was Tasty, and like he legitimately thought that Tasty was an actual female.
Damn, well, I guess you're good at it.
He was all like, "Yeah, girl, you got it going on."
I came in here when Sam was talking about is it religion, and now we're on site 10. I'm confused. What happened?
You get confused either way.
It got it got complicated up in here.
It's complicated. It's always complicated.
It's always complicated.
Who else besides Cy-10 and DD have their own personal fan channels?
I don't know.
There's the Jason Burns Archive channel,
and the another Jason Burns Archive channel.
There's several of those kind of things that exist.
I've noticed recently there's also now a Ronnie one as well.
Nephilim Free has one called Nephilim Free.
But how many have soundboards?
Only. Well, I will say,
there's a few people with soundboards.
He's a special kind of asshole.
There's a Godless Girl soundboard.
Yeah, but it's not as complete.
Oh God, if you want to lose your erection, may I recommend the Godless Girl soundboard? That woman has
the greatest form of birth
grating
control?
voice that I've ever heard. I mean, I think that baseball thinks of Godless Girls voice in order to lose its erection. I mean, dear Lord. I mean, she does occasionally make good points, but oh my God, like her voice is so grating. I listened to her in a hangout when I was hungover one time, and I wanted to throw my computer against the wall.
Oh, hang on. Can I hear something? Everyone be quiet.
These guys are fucking trolls.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's the Darwin's deity one.
Yeah.
I played the one where he said the dog's coming in his mouth. I played it like 60 times. That's hilarious.
Coming in a dog's mouth. I was participating in bestiality.
Yeah. You know. I'm sorry, I'm reading the side chat. Something about that.
Those are going to be on my soundboard now.
You know what? If someone would create a soundboard of me, I would really be curious what it sounds like. I don't think I say anything that often that people would go, "Oh yeah, that's drag," unless they heard my voice.
It doesn't have to necessarily be like a catchphrase. It just has to be something that fits well on a soundboard.
Well, I think "bitch made" would probably be one of the ones.
Certainly.
Tiny penis. Probably a sound of me adjusting my mic or eating.
Edify.
Yeah.
I go to edify myself.
Yes.
The Dragout classic.
I love that word.
It's like, if it was Steve, it would be argumentation.
I thought my word was capitulate.
Capitulate as well would be another.
I like that fucking word.
I got to use at least once a day.
My word is elucidate.
I don't know.
That's a good word.
What's my word?
Stud. I don't know.
I noticed recently that I say elucidate a lot.
What is Sam say an awful lot?
I don't know if I don't think I have a word.
I don't know. According to Facebook, I have 3 words that I use a lot. Black people and time.
I love that. That's the best thing.
You saw that?
Where do you go to see that?
I want to see this, actually.
Go on my Facebook, and then what it does is it counts how many times you've used certain words. And so my top 3 words, I think I said people like 72 times on average, but and the other 2 like 40 and 30. And it just so happens that it was black people time. And I'm like, God damn it.
Oh, I know Sam's. You know. The other day he must have said I think 20 times. People in the live feed going, tell Sam to stop saying you know. Please tell Sam to stop saying you know. It's a subconscious thing. It's a vocalized pause. But,
I think that egos is right.
What?
Those people that say right at the end of everything is just like
right. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Mine aren't all that interesting. People, Scott, that makes me feel like I'm more narcissistic than I thought. And good.
Link to this in the side chat, please. I want to see what mine are. Because I guarantee you on Facebook it's not elucidate. It probably is on.
I can try.
Hangouts.
Let's see if I just take this and I'm going to copy this and put it.
See if it works. Yeah, just click on it and it's supposed to produce it from your Facebook. And I thought it was pretty funny.
Yeah, it'll ask to link to your Facebook, the whole usual thing.
Yeah, I gotcha. All right, fetching words. Analyzing
frequency.
Getting your result.
Fetching words.
Oh, man. It's because the fucking election's going on. It's Hillary voting Trump.
Mine's still analyzing.
This is fun. I like this.
Good, congrats, and great.
I would love
motherfucker.
I would love to have a similar thing for my G+ posting because I'm much more active on G+.
Yeah, I think G+ would be more interesting because mine just makes me seem like I'm a really positive person, which I'm definitely not.
Your mom's a positive person.
She is. Thank you very much. My mom is a very positive person. In fact, she, that's where I get my sunny disposition from.
Sorry, I'm watching
Mom goes to
live
college.
guys.
My mom
I'm watching the live.
Actually, if there's something from me, it's your mom.
I was waiting for Ocean to say, I'm sure she's a positive person. She's saying, I'm positive I'll sleep with you. I'm positive I'll sleep with you. I'm positive I'll sleep with you.
Exactly. That's what's going on.
What the fuck is going on in the side chat?
Well, as we all know, I look exactly like my dad, so there's no worry about it.
Holy cow.
At the very least.
I would have sworn that was you. I thought that was you. I was like,
hey,
wow.
wait, it's Scientist Sam. Maybe he's a clone.
Guys, I'm watching the live chat. And Mark Thomas has asked me, Fiona, where do all the pretty flowers come from? To which somebody have replied, seeds, you muppet.
Seeds, you muppet. That sounds like something. It sounds like it's MMA is in the side chat. Did you read this report?
Sai-Ten, when are you going to release another fucking like Street Fighters video? Because I see my character in there, and I'm upset that people can't pick me as a fucking character and whoop motherfuckers' asses. You need to get on that shit.
Is an actual fighting game?
Oh, now here's something interesting. Excuse me for interrupting, but Sai-Ten has just explained the feather in Ronnie's hat, or whatever you want to call it. And he says the feather's supposed to be symbolic of Ronnie's spiritual ascension to a higher intellectual plane.
And guys, this is a picture of my dad in college.
If I would take that with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
I take your mom with a grain of salt, if you know what I mean.
I'm sorry.
I don't.
I actually don't know what that means.
You don't know what that means? Well,
I know what it means to take something with a grain of salt, but my mom, no, I don't know what that means.
Just to take out the grain of salt, I'm taking your mom. You know what I mean?
Well,
with a grain of salt.
Does the grain of salt dissolve or degrade?
Oh, you know what I mean? There's a lot of degrading going on when I'm with your mom in a grain of salt.
Yeah, like this TST episode.
Yeah. Ocean, I wish you the best of luck in that endeavor, because greater men than you have tried.
Well, no greater man than me has tried, I guarantee it.
Fatality.
At least it wasn't your dad anyway.
You see, actually, the funny thing is circling back around just a few steps back, unlike Sam, I look nothing like my father. Makes family events a little awkward with his side of the family, where everyone's
Do you look like the mailman?
where do you come from?
Do you look like the mailman? That's a good question.
No, I look pretty much like anyone on my mom's side of the family.
I look like my mom. She has the same kind of beard.
So are you saying that your mom fucked a cousin or something? Like, is that...
No, that's not at all what I'm saying, because there is some...
It seems like that's what you're saying.
Are you from Alabama? Is what we're asking.
Most
precisely.
You fuckers joke about that shit, but there has been a couple that comes in the store that I work in on the weekends, and one of these nasty motherfuckers has fucked their brother, and I learned about it from my fucking coworker who dated one of the nephews.
How did you learn about it from your coworker? Did you learn about it from your coworker from experience?
Yeah. Well, you know what? That's another story. But no, she spilled the beans on this family, because I was like, you know what?
How did she spill the beans?
She spilled the beans because they were upset. They were being those stereotypical customers. They're just assholes. And so she goes, well, you know, I was like, hey, I have a joke. You know, like everyone around here is inbred. They can't help it. So she goes, well, actually, and I go, what the fuck? What do you mean, well, actually? Well, you see,
don't well actually.
Right there, the wife there has a brother, and they have a 13-year-old son. Like, wait, hold on. She's married. That married couple has a son, but she also has a biological son with her own brother. Yes, evidently that is the case. So I can no longer make the incest joke here, because it actually does fucking happen. Yes. Yay.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah.
I see someone's spanner is working.
Did Mark Thomas
lost.
Oh, good. Oh my goodness. Oh.
Yeah, my spanner wouldn't work. I kept telling Cliff my spanner wasn't working, and it was getting...
There's not much I can do about it. I'm not in charge of how the spanner works.
You can... No, but you could deal with it.
Fiona had a lot of things to say at that moment, but she didn't really say anything.
But I think my spanner isn't working, Cliff.
It's not like he's a Google technician.
Your mom's a Google technician.
No, I know, but Cliff did have a spanner that worked.
Well, you didn't ask me that. You just said yours wasn't working. You didn't ask me to use mine.
Oh my gosh.
I've got Asperger's. What do you want, girl?
Yeah, they had a non-functional spanner.
Sorry, I can hear Darwin again.
You are a fucking troll.
You're a fucking troll.
Obviously, he's talking about Mark Thomas.
Your mom's a fucking troll.
Hey, that was uncalled for.
Yeah, I mean, it
Emphasis
got
on
to the
the
bit.
fucking,
Where
if
where
you
did
know what I mean.
Whoa, whoa!
It started.
I don't know what you
It
mean by
started with. It started with where did the fluffy kittens come from? Mommy cats, yeah. Ooh, he's just trolling the comments.
just
That was
say
all he was
sex?
doing from when he first arrived.
But
Troll,
does he
troll,
ever do
troll.
anything else?
Has your mom ever do
No, he
anything else?
doesn't. He really doesn't. I mean, he really should be booted on site from live chat now because he's hopeless. I've actually got him blocked, so I don't see him on
I've got
Plus now.
blocked from my live chat too. It's just completely useless.
Yeah, it never has anything to say. Never. Can't have a conversation with him.
Well, because he's not there for a
Very weird.
conversation.
No, he's not.
Oh, also sorry for him. Almost, not really.
I've actually
No.
been on. I've
I've
actually
actually had
been
a-
hangout with him.
So have I.
Like, on
He was
voice.
fine.
Yeah.
I've tried off air and on air. He's just like I think someone during the summer had was doing like the mods and shit for me. They were trying to have a conversation with him about the trolley problem, and then he actually came up. I think actually it was you, Cliff. It might have been you.
Mhm.
And I want to say it was the thing with the Nazis, the Jews and the Attic Nazis, and he would not answer the question when it was reformatted to demonstrate the entire point of the trolley problem. And so I was like, you know what? If he's not even going to be honest, just fucking boot him. There's no point in engaging in him if he's not actually going to
Exactly. I
participate.
mean,
Well, that was like
Yeah,
what's his
I
name
mean,
with JD.
I saw somebody. The first time I watched somebody being confronted with a trolley problem for the first time, and they would not answer the question. And the answer they eventually gave was, "I would pray."
That's going to
And we
help.
said,
Was that Oucher?
No,
That's just something like Oucher would say.
no, it wasn't. I would pray. And we said, no, that isn't what you're. There's a lever there in front of you. What you can do? I would pray.
Oh, who was that?
There was
Mark?
no answer came. No.
Did you guys ever see the answer of the trolley problem from a 5-year-old or 6-year-old? I
Yes.
don't remember.
Oh,
the
that
age
was
of the
hilarious.
kid.
Where he just moved
He
everybody
takes-
over.
He takes the guy that's alone on one of the track, puts it with all the other people on the other side of the track, and runs the train over everybody.
Yeah. So that brilliant.
The best answer to the trolley problem.
Absolutely brilliant.
Out of the mouth of babes. Hey, it works. It works. Oh my goodness.
Yes, that
I'm going to go
child
for it,
is
guys,
now in
because
that
believe
child is
that.
now in therapy.
I'd believe that
No, the parent is in therapy.
Yeah.
someone on the outside is saying it was MK who had the meltdown when confronted with the trolley problem and said he would pray. Was it MK?
No. Put it in side chat.
Wow.
Not surprised. Not surprised.
But that was the first time I'd heard that person deal with it. I'm not saying it's the first time they ever dealt with it. But they just would not answer that. They wouldn't actually participate in the hypothetical. And that's something I've seen quite often. If you try a hypothetical with some of the radical evangelicals, they will not participate in hypotheticals.
No, they don't at all. Well, look what happened when Hovind was doing that question with you guys on Wayne's channel, where the question was basically, what if you were wrong? And he didn't participate at all. He didn't remotely try to even answer the question.
Yeah, and I think that's a problem. You see, it's as if they see the online conversations as they think every single question has got some sort of gotcha behind it, because that's what they do, and so they avoid
hypothetical questions usually do have a gotcha.
Question. What?
Hypothetical questions usually do have a gotcha somewhere. It's the reason why there's that suspicion, especially when coming from atheists. Sorry, guys, but it's true. You guys definitely lay out some gotcha questions in the form of hypotheticals. So I understand their hesitation with trying to answer those questions.
Well, no. I mean, you think hypotheticals are atheist tricks?
No, that's not what I said. Did you hear what I said?
Want to clarify?
Okay, well,
You want to
you
clarify,
seem to
sorry?
interpret it when I said that like all hypotheticals are atheist tricks. That's not the case.
No, I'm asking you to clarify.
Hypotheticals, when asked by atheists, are usually gotchas. And in my experience,
Yeah,
of
that's what
this hang out community, like that's just usually what's
That's
going
what I
on.
was asking. That's what I was asking. I was asking you to clarify.
Well,
I
just
wasn't
did.
saying that's what you said. I was asking you. So thank you.
Okay,
That's all I was asking.
I think it's called. I was looking this up a while back because I think I used to do this a lot, and I believe it's called the fallacy of 1,000 flowers, and it's where you try to encourage open discourse, and then you later punish someone when they've not necessarily taken up a position, but they've just kind of asserted it, kind of offhand. And so I think that's kind of a way that you can somewhat sneak in a gotcha. A bit more dishonesty, I guess, than with a direct question and answer format. But someone feel free to correct me because it's not a fallacy that I've extensively researched. It was something that I was looking over, and I just so happened to recognize that name and that particular technique. And I think it is something that I personally used to do.
Oh, interesting. I made a little suggestion in the side chat about Darwin's deity being a perfect person for a Cite an Atheist video. And he says, DD is a delight. We should introduce him to a new ethical dilemma to supersede the trolley, the truck of peace problem.
Yeah, that should be interesting.
Has anybody ever seen Darwin's? I guess he's like a 55-year-old, wrinkly, dried up, like dude. Looks like
Godless Girl says that he looks
cheers,
like
thanks for that, Steve.
he looks like one of those. What are those dogs that have like folds and folds of skin?
It's just really funny that he looks like a dog because he has to walk them all the time.
I personally think it's Greg Benson.
Greg Benson's dead, but you know.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Or is he?
Listen, guys, I'm going to drop out because I've got terrible lag here. So I'm just going to drop out. I can't even get the leave button to come up. The lag is horrendous. I don't know how I'm going to get out of this room.
Ejector, sniper.
I can boot you if you like.
I'm just. I don't even have a cursor at the moment.
Alt F4, Fiona.
It's being caused by the live chat.
Yeah, Alt F4.
I don't have any F numbers on the phone book.
FYI, there's going to be a debate tonight. It's going to be Spheroid Earth Society versus Hunter Bailey, and it's going to be on my channel here in a little bit, probably right after TST or a little before, and it's going to be on, what do they call it? The veracity of the Bible in contrast to human evolution. In layman's terms, does the Bible correlate with evolution? Yeah. It'll be just between them, so whatever.
What a dumb-sounding conversation. I'm just kidding.
I didn't make it up.
You're a dumb-sounding conversation.
Mom's a dumb-sounding conversation.
She is. She works HR. She can't help it. I'm not joking. But
I'm going to step out, guys. Have a good one.
All right, see ya.
Is Site actually going to make a video on fucking Darwin's deity? That would be pretty fucking funny.
I think that would be great, but I don't. It's.
I think
I guess if Matthew Bell has got a cartoon character, then so should DD.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But DD doesn't have an official profile. You don't see him. You would have to use Darwin's.
People tend to
Richard
use
Dawkins.
One of his cartoons.
One of these days, I'll be worthy enough.
I meant to ask, does anybody knows who's the guy with the short gray hair that he's been using for some
It's an
time
actor.
before? Is that an actor?
Yeah, it's an actor. I forget the name of the actor, but it's an actor that he says that people like say that he looks like, so therefore he looks nothing like that person.
Does he look like a dried up asshole in real life? Is that what it is? Maybe no. Just asking. Just curious. I don't know. He might be really, really handsome, and he just doesn't show his face because people will be distracted by that and not pay attention to his.
Your mom was pretty distracted by that, if I recall correctly.
She was. She said, "You know what? I've never seen a man that looks like a bag of smashed wolf pussy ever in my life."
God damn it!
You guys scared off side 10 even, I think. The mom jokes. Anyways, I gotta get ready for this debate. Cliff Jubber, good substitution for TST. Everybody, thank you very much for everything. One day I'll be a character and I'll have a little bit part in a side 10 thing. It's like some minuscule thing, and I'm gonna be like, yes. So, anyways, peace out,
I will
brothers.
say to side 10 that I think that there's an anti-pagan bias because I'm not a character.
I think I have a bias, period, but that's okay.
I mean, I'm
a good character. I can see like you throwing lightning bolts down from like Olympus or something.
As long as you have a good mic and you're in contact with Side 10, he will work with you. He is a good.
I have both of those things.
Did you see this? You remember the thing that Joe drew for me, right? Me and a freaking tuna can. It was really good, actually.
This is the reason why I won't work with Steve, because Steve has a shit mic.
No, this is a good mic. This is my good one.
I don't know what you're talking about, but okay.
Shush. This is a good mic.
I had my good mic because I lit my voice. I think I did G-Man in one video. I think it was it. I don't know. Side 10, feel free to correct me. I think I did G-Man. The shitty G-Man, but G-Man nonetheless.
Well, I think we're going to knock it on the head now. So
right.
Thank you everybody for watching. And next week, apparently JD will be back. So you'll have someone who's a professional at this. So yep. What this actually demonstrates is that actually it's me who's in charge of TST, not Dreadnought, and certainly not JD. So
nope, all me.
So good night, everybody.
Just gonna